We're on it tonight. Everybody brought their A game.
It's good.
We had our brain food.
You know what I love about January 1st at midnight is the look on the guy at Walmart's face when it's 12:01 and you're like, I want a fishing license.
Let's go. Do you really shoot the halibut once you get him close to the surface?
We just shoot the halibut every Thursday.
Fellas, get back in that current.
I love it.
I hate That's you. All right.
I hate me too, bud.
It's okay, Ryan.
I'm like a really fat branch.
Definitely.
Should we just fast forward to the part where I say, so you got skunked?
I have a question for you. So
You came to the right place, bud.
no, listen.
And we are back. This is the Rutten River Pursuits podcast. And we are in the current. This is Reality Outdoor Radio, where our mission is to get you into the outdoors by introducing you to the people, skills, and products that you can trust.
You can trust them.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Pick, and who else is with me tonight?
I'm Bucky.
I'm Will.
Hey, I'm Ryan.
How you doing, fellas?
Good, buddy.
It's a good
How
night.
are you?
Good night to be in the current.
Always
kidding.
good to be here with you fellas.
I feel the same, Bucky. I feel the same.
I just came to hang out tonight with you.
It's good.
Yeah.
We're glad to have you.
This is the most outdoors I've been in a long time.
Bless
We're
your
inside right now,
Thank
bud.
you, bud. Thank you for letting me live vicariously through you.
heart. Every week.
I'm like a in-studio live audience.
Love it.
No, seriously, Bucky, how you been doing?
I'm hanging in there. I think my biggest problem right now is the mental aspect of not being able. Like, I couldn't even really go out and hunt in high grass, I don't think, right now to lift my leg. It's getting heavier with...
There's no high stepping in
dew.
here.
Yeah. And I thought it maybe, well, at least I could go walk and hunt a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I could, but I think I would only be setting myself up for more inflammation and trouble instead of just letting it rest for better outcomes post-surgical.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, right?
Yeah.
It's coming.
But it's in the middle of hunting season.
Don't go to the light, Bucky.
I'll try not to. I'll try my best not to, guys. The best I could do is I've set myself up with a plan for at least this weekend coming up. I'm going to go hang out with Jay a little bit. I'm going to get out and get to the forge then.
Stecker vets.
Yeah.
I said it right on the first try.
I need to do something, and I can at least go hang out and entertain a couple of students of his and chat with him and chat with them and help them out a little bit and hold tools and probably burn myself and cut myself twice.
Oh, good luck.
So
That's always a solid plan when you head to the forge.
yeah.
Not once, but twice.
But thanks for asking, guys. Like I said, I am living vicariously through you guys right now. It's great stories. I happen to be fortunate to be a part of the play-by-plays that come in via our Facebook Messenger.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I've been very fortunate to.
You're privy to some of the behind-the-scenes stuff.
Oh yes, and sometimes I chime in a little late or whatnot, but I enjoy it, and I'm going to need some things to do while I'm off.
Yeah.
What have you guys been up to? So speaking of living vicariously, help me out for a week.
Before you ask me, before we start into this week's current, Ryan, why don't you tell us about this month's sponsor?
This episode is brought to you in part by Mountain Dew Kickstart.
Yeah, it is.
Mountain Dew Kickstart is a great tasting morning refreshment beverage.
Don't you mean replenishment beverage?
Maybe, but I know I get some refreshment from it.
Yeah, well, I need that replenishment.
Well, maybe we'll just agree to disagree.
Yeah.
Or we just agree on the fact that it gives you both, bud.
I can totally get behind that.
It also energizes you in the morning to provide you with that appropriate boost to start your day. Kickstart is a delicious combination of juice, caffeine, and Mountain Dew.
All three.
It's got them, bud.
Triple threats.
It sure is. It sure is. Hey, all those flavor options are out there, too. You got the pineapple, orange, mango, the black cherry,
Yeah.
fruit punch, mango lime. There's even a raspberry citrus, but guess what?
I need to try that pineapple orange mango.
It sounds delicious, but you got Stevie's favorite, of course, the orange citrus.
Orange citrus.
Those
And
orange
the
cans, they're all full up in the fridge. You got to reach.
You have to wait around them
Yeah, you
to
do.
get to other things. But I usually end up just grabbing one because it's right there, bud.
So, if you want to start your morning off like the bad boy of podcasting, Mr. Steve Miser,
I know I do.
just grab yourself a Mountain Dew Kickstart and give your day a kickstart. Delicious.
What have you guys been up to?
I want to hang on that point for just a moment, Bucky, because if
Okay.
you're looking for something to follow along with and keep up with, like you mentioned, you're privy to some of the behind the scenes stuff that we've got going on. Of course, check out the Instagrams and everything else. We're keeping you up to date. A lot of other folks are, but I've really been digging what some of those hunt camp boys have been doing. Keeping up
they're
with
on
them
it
out
all.
west.
I'm already on that.
I've seen more tires changed on Instagram following hunt camp.
It's
in their
like a
trials and
DIY
tribulations.
YouTube channel,
Yeah,
right?
It really is. Yeah. Those poor guys. Their truck's been taking a beating. You know what I mean?
Bless their hearts.
But they're living life, though. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what happens.
Yeah, and they're putting some buck down too. So I've been impressed. I've been keeping an eye on that stuff. So that's fun.
I can't wait to watch the
This-
video that's going to come out of that.
This time of year, it's just like pure joy opening up Facebook and Instagram every day and just scrolling down through the stuff. Whether you know the people, don't know the people,
A lot of gripping and grinning.
it's just pages
Success.
full of pages full of trials and tribulations. I mean, the ups and downs of the outdoors. We've talked about it.
Absolutely.
There's always a couple of heartbreaks to go along with all of the celebrations. But man, it's just a great time to be alive. Watching that Facebook.
It's what
feed
we
and
look
Instagram
forward
stuff.
to for about 9 months out of the year.
Heck yeah.
Bucky, I need to go back to the hunt camp, guys. Do
There it is. Now we're back.
you see the haircuts? That's a commitment.
See the haircuts.
That's a next. I can't wait for them to get back because I'm gonna absolutely grill them. I can't wait.
Yeah. They went all out, haircuts, mustache.
I'm proud of them.
All that stuff.
Rut stashes. Mm-hmm. Yep. But
No, I just thought that was hilarious.
and then the gals up north.
We don't do that.
Well, I mean, did you see the haircuts? There's a reason we don't. Love them for it, but there's a reason we don't do that.
Well,
They make it look a little bit better than we would.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
if I can pull it off, I'm trying to really. I don't know. I can't grow it
Stay
faster.
tuned, folks.
Stay
Yeah.
tuned.
The point we're trying to drive home, though, is whether they're friends of the podcast, like most of the folks that we've been touching on here tonight, or just random people on some of these Facebook groups. It's just a great time to be scrolling through, social media and seeing people celebrating the outdoors. It's good stuff. A lot of things to look forward to.
What'd you guys do this week?
I did something.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I did something. I traveled back up to Wyoming County, where I'm originally from, and
Doing a little PA hunting
I
here
did-
recently.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I got.
He's got to help out, and he's got to carry Bucky a little bit here in PA
Well,
for the Quest Hunt Co.
I'm not doing any carrying yet, but I went up and spent 3 days. Drove up from work Wednesday evening from Maryland, and spent Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in the woods. And it was a great time to get out with the bow. With
And
my
that was the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right at the end
Yes,
of the statewide PA archery season.
the last 3 days of the season.
Good days to
And-
be in the woods.
It was awesome. It was awesome. Got up, and my dad had pulled some SD cards from some of the trail cameras that we've had on the property that we're hunting, and we're fortunate to have some property not far from our house that is privately owned, and went through some of those trail camera SD cards in the trail camera, and saw some nice deer, some nice buck, and to our surprise, saw about a 300-pound black bear show up on the the camera.
Daytime or night?
It was a nighttime. It was a nighttime photo. I believe it was October 19th. Most of the photos that we've been seeing of some bigger bucks were in mid-October. A few smaller buck during the day, a week or so ago. But so I was excited, needless to say. The night before going out Thursday morning, my dad had to work, but I had the woods to myself Thursday morning, and got out. Cold morning, clear. No wind. It was crisp. I think it was 18 or 19 degrees that first morning. Packed, as some of you know, I try to video my hunts. Had the camera arm and the camera all packed in. It was the first time this year that I had been in this particular tree. Ladder stand was already up, and the tree is so big, and it's probably the only tree to be in, or that you want to be in this particular area, the set. The tree is so big that the ratchet strap that comes along with the muddy camera that I use will not reach around the tree.
Not quite enough. You got to go aftermarket.
Yeah. So I brought an extra ratchet strap, and here I am, 15 minutes before daylight, trying to get things set up, and I'm winging the.
I love that game. Right?
Winging the ratchet strap around the tree, trying to grab it. I'm 3 or 4 tries before.
You're hugging the tree and you're kind of swinging it a little bit. And then you give it that one extra little oomph, and then you're trying to grab it with the other hand.
That's
love
it.
Yep. I hate that.
I do too.
Yeah.
In the dark,
because I'm going down.
So
down goes Bucky.
That's what I was dealing with the first morning, and as I'm doing that, I got everything set up, and I'm leveling the camera, and I just kind of take a look over my shoulder through one of the fields, and I see a rack. I see a rack buck, and we had a trail camera photo of a nice 10-point buck, and right away,
that's the buck you saw.
I don't know. It was still not light enough to get a good idea of what the buck was.
How many buck did you end up seeing that week?
Oh, the first day I saw 9 deer and 8 were buck. So 8 out of the 9.
Okay.
Wow. It just was the first 45 minutes I saw 3 buck. They weren't in range. They weren't, bucks that I was going to pick my bow up for. That first buck that I saw, I stopped what I was doing. I grabbed my grunt call. I grabbed the grunt call and just tried to get his attention.
Yeah.
And
what happened?
He kept on walking away. There's a creek behind me, and I don't know if it was just too far and some of the background noise.
You weren't believable.
Maybe. I don't know. No, this was a real grunt call. This was a flex tone grunt call that I start soft and continually grunted louder and louder to try to get this buck to turn around, and he never did. He walked into the fence row and disappeared. So I didn't get an ID on this particular buck, but it was a nice.
Did you hit him with a
nice
fighting
buck.
purrs?
I didn't. I did snort wheeze. I snort wheeze once he walked into that thicket. I snort wheeze just to get a little bit more vocal and to try to get his attention. That was it. Yep.
Do you just do it with your mouth, or do you have a snort wheeze call?
The call that I have has a snort wheeze
function
tube on it.
It's like a horn almost. It's just to emphasize it. Right?
Yeah.
Amplify it. I guess is the right word.
Yeah. So the first morning was great. Second morning.
What morning did you run into deer? Like
every morning.
It was a deer were moving.
So at 18 degrees, I have to ask this question. Did you pack in any of them hot hands?
Absolutely.
Put in some toasty toes in your boots?
I didn't do anything in my boots.
Yeah.
But definitely, I went through 4 hot hands that day.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer.
Yeah.
In the old hot hands and toasty toes. I don't know if you guys noticed those big boxes I got from. I buy them in bulk on the Amazon.
Yeah, I was peeping those out today.
I was going to take some.
I don't mess around.
Sticky fingers might happen tonight.
I'm tired of messing around with this, onesie twosie type stuff.
Yeah.
I'm buying them in bulk.
They are great.
Love them.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just
the toe warmers are great too.
I had to ask about those. You put a pair of those toe warmers on a wool sock. slide it into a muck boot, boy, you're good for hours.
Bucky has a pair on right now.
Right in my clogs.
Toasty toes in his Crocs.
Toasty toes. And I'm toasty.
No, the first day was great. It was cold. I went through 4 of those hot hands. I sat all day long from dark to dark, and
tell us about this thing. I know you got great in between stories, and you're leading up to this whole thing where it's like do you want to talk about it?
I do. It happened. I don't want to avoid it. It's a part of hunting, and it's a part of.
So let me see if I can get us to the spot. You got a deer coming in.
One thing though, before that, you're using a tactic that is not commonplace in Pennsylvania. That he's got a deer coming into.
Yeah.
So you got this deer coming into. A decoy.
Yeah. Friday morning, I went out, didn't set the decoy up just due to carrying stuff in. But I did have the decoy back at the truck.
What's his name? Harry or something?
Harry. Yeah. He is a Primos brand decoy that I have had for probably 10 or 12 years. I don't even know if they make this particular decoy from Primos. They do make a decoy, but I don't think they make this particular model.
Is this model one of those ones where it could be Harry or Henrietta? Like you can drop the antlers off of it?
Yes. You can position the ears in different orientations.
What is Harry? Is he like a mainframe 6?
He actually came with 2 different sized antlers.
Nice.
Yeah. So a larger set of antlers and then a small set. He can be a 3-year-old or he can be a 6-year-old by the
Today,
twist.
I'm identifying as a juvenile buck.
Yeah.
Which I would shoot the decoy myself.
Heck yeah. None of them are safe around me and Will, eh, comrade?
But
I wouldn't pass on a big buck, but I'm not going to pass on a small one either.
We're gonna wrangle Bucky back in here.
Broke Bucky.
So, how did this thing respond to a decoy? I mean, you had it facing you. The decoy was facing you.
Yeah.
It's coming in, and did the buck kind of skirt around you guys, or
it stopped? I mean, I've used decoys in the past. I killed a nice 8-point out in Kansas utilizing a decoy. Nice. And from my personal experience, and then from what I've read and what I've seen, the best orientation that decoy should be in, my experience and reading, is quartering to you, and the logic behind that is when another buck comes in, he is going to approach that decoy from the front. He is not going to come from behind. So if you have that decoy facing to you, whether the buck comes in from the left, whether the buck comes in from the right, he's going to circle around and basically end up facing the decoy, which is going to be quartering away from you. So that is how I had the decoy set up. I had him out about 18 or 19 yards, quartering to me on my right-hand side.
Which is the way you would want to do that if you put the antlers on the decoy. You set your decoy up as a doe, and you put some estrus out, and you're trying to draw a buck in thinking he's approaching a doe. You want to face it the other way.
Yep. So he's going to enter from behind.
So you have to think about what you're doing. And very similar to when you're putting decoys out turkey hunting. Uh-huh. Same thing. If you've got a Jake in the mix, the Jake should face a different way than the hen should face. So there's a lot of similarities that can be drawn. And decoying on whitetails is a tactic. I used it, I think, one time. I've got a doe decoy that I think I've thrown out one time. I've never been successful or effective in any way. But I love the idea of it.
Yeah, it is fun. It is fun. And don't get me wrong, it doesn't happen the right way every time. I've had so many deer get spooked by decoy, but this guy here came in, saw the decoy, stopped for maybe 10 or 15 seconds.
Did he pin his ears back?
He did. Bristled up, turned sideways. I mean, it was perfect. Everything
came in stiff-legged.
Everything was perfect.
Really?
Yeah. Circled around. Got broadside. Didn't allow me for a shot until he got even with the decoy. He was quartering to me the entire time. Turned sideways, and as he turned sideways, that's when I drew back. And at 18 yards, he saw movement. He saw me draw back. I was at full draw. He looked up, didn't know what it was, but he knew he saw something.
Yeah, just enough to just freak him a little.
Yeah, so he turned, took 2 leaps. I mouth grunted twice.
Do
that for me. Okay, gotcha.
He stopped. He stopped, was quartering away, and I squeezed the release off.
Yeah.
Buried an arrow. He ran off into the brush, and I thought I had myself a nice 8-point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I've seen the footage now from that shot, and you had no reason to not believe that.
At first, no.
I mean, you even got a little bit of the, he stumbled. That front shoulder went down almost to the dirt and drug it for 2 or 3 steps and then came back up poof.
And right away, though, I did know that.
I'd have been calling taxidermists.
Yeah. Right away, I did know the shot was a little forward.
Scheduling appointments. But yeah.
It was a little forward. I was using a 2-blade Rage that I had success with in the past. I've had marginal shots. I found the arrow.
There's pieces, right?
It was about 8 inches of the arrow sunk in them. So after I made the hit, I waited 10 or 15 minutes, got down out of the tree stand, touched base with my dad. My dad was about 150 yards away. We met, and
I'm going to ruin your hunt.
Yeah, he was excited, though. He came down, and I looked right where I had shot the deer, and it's in the middle of a pasture, and I didn't see any blood. And right then, in the past, when I had shot deer with this Rage, it was 20 yards in an open field. And in that 20 yards, I did not see a drop of blood. And that is when you were talking about this roller coaster, man. I started to the bottom, and I thought, well, it's early. Walked into the brush, and I looked up, and I saw the arrow. And when I picked up that arrow, saw about 5 inches of blood and a little bit of hair.
Okay.
From right then, I stuck the arrow in the ground, and I started looking for blood, and I found, in probably another 30 or 40 yards, I only found 5 or 6 small drops of blood in 40 yards. And so we continued probably a total of 75 yards from where the arrow broke off, and I found it, and I just kept in my head, when in doubt, back out. And I said, Dad, we need to back out. And this was probably only 30 minutes from the shot. So we backed out.
What kind of blood were you finding?
It was dark red.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't, that lung blood. It wasn't the dark lit. Like, I knew that it was forward. I had the camera there to rely on. So at that point in time, I went back, got the camera, reviewed the footage, and looked. And still, on that small, 3.5 or 4 inch screen, it's a little difficult to pinpoint the exact spot, but I knew I was forward and a little bit high. But still, at that point in time, I thought, that's a dead deer. I continued to say that was a dead deer. We waited a total of an hour before we continued to try to get back on the blood trail, and again tried to find some more blood, and there was no blood to be found. Yeah. So at that point, from the tree that I was in, I knew which general direction that he went, and so that's where we started our search. It was an hour after I hit the deer. Right. We started going in that direction. It was open hardwoods. Sure. So you can see 75 to, 100 yards through the woods. And I thought, let's just start looking. You know, I think this deer is going to be within 100 to 200 yards. The topography went up to a hill and then it plateaued. And I figured, now if this deer is hurt, he's probably not going to run up that hill.
Yep.
Pond was to our right, and it was just a nice 75-yard flat against this or next to this pond that walked out through the property. So we stayed on that lower level and walked out 200 or 300 yards to the end of the property line. Didn't see anything. I thought, oh man, yeah. So then it just yeah, it got worse, and my feeling got worse and worse and worse. Downhill. Yeah. So we continued to walk back. Made another loop back and started just doing some searching. So we looked for about 2.5 hours that Friday afternoon for this buck, and it by 4:45 it was starting to get dark. We had to take stuff back, get out. You know, we had plans for dinner. I was beside myself. I've been hunting since the age of 12, and in 34 years. I had never hit a buck or never hit a deer for that matter that I had never recovered. So this was new emotions, new territory for me.
Really?
Yeah. And I've
lucky.
I've been lucky, and I kept on hearing that old saying in my head: if you hunt long enough, it's going to happen. If you hunt long enough, it's going to happen.
It doesn't make it right, but yes.
That's exactly right. I didn't want to accept it, but. So the next morning, we got up, and it was 18 or 19 degrees again. My dad wanted to sleep in, and about 9 o'clock, we ate breakfast and got back out into the woods by 10 o'clock, and we looked for another 2.5 hours for this deer. I did see a small sapling that had about a 4-inch wide swath up on the tree, so about 3 inches, and he must have ran by that tree and rubbed against that tree and there was some hair on it with some blood, but nothing other than that.
But was that enough just to keep you going a little? Like,
I saw blood but it just wasn't enough. The longer we searched, the more doubt that I had, and I was able to download the footage on my phone, and the pixelation allowed me to zoom in a little bit more, and the more I looked and examined the shot, I thought, man, it might be a non-fatal shot on this buck.
The reason why I said that is when you do see that, you tend to get a little bit of hope, and that spurs you on and gives you a little bit more energy compared to when you don't see anything at all and you might cut it off. I commend you for putting as much time as you did into that search for that animal, considering you only really saw one positive sign that.
Yeah, we searched for a little over 5 hours, and of course, my dad, I didn't want to ruin his whole weekend of hunting, so we at 12:30, we kind of called it quits and went back, and I went back out into the woods with him, but I didn't even carry my bow. My dad's like, you're not carrying your bow? I said, no, Dad. I said, I'm gonna sit in the stand. You can go down where I was, and if he has a crossbow, I told him, I said, I don't want the next time I draw back on possibly another buck to be now. So I sat there. I spotted for him.
But are you saying that? And did you not carry that bow to punish yourself?
At that particular moment, I had self-doubt, and I didn't want me to have self-doubt and draw my bow. But I wanted to shoot my bow. Another 15 or 20 times and get that confidence back that I can hit, a $50 at 40 yards.
You just weren't ready.
So
too soon.
There's a combination, I think, of things that go through your mind. I'm
sorry I blew up then.
But I appreciate the sentiment, and
you're not one to shy away from the work and that it takes to get there, to put the time in, learn your bow, learn the spots and things like that. Like, this is like, I don't know how to say it, but it's just something that happens. It was like I would you change the angle of approach, the shot placement, would you change that in retrospect, or would you have tried to, I know this might come up in another podcast or two, but like I've made shots where I didn't have a recovery, and I don't know that I would change the scenario with the shot and everything. Like, I might not be able to explain exactly what happened, but there's one time where I would absolutely never make that shot ever again. Mm-hmm. I know what I did.
Right.
I know why I chose what I did, and it was not right,
Yeah.
And then I've had other times where it didn't work out, like a branch or something like that, or a duck that I couldn't change it. I can't.
Right.
There's nothing in between the time of the release to the deer. I couldn't change it.
Yeah.
I would never do it again.
So did the duck swoop in as you were drawing
was
back?
it cupping?
Did it scare you?
Yeah.
Like, how did the duck come into play? I'm just curious. Oh, you mean the
deer ducked.
Gotcha. Sorry.
It was the deer duck.
I missed what you were saying.
All right.
You guys.
To answer your question,
I was all fired up.
yeah.
We know that's why we had to throw that
I'm glad
little
you
levity
did.
in there.
I would have said goose if I wanted to.
To answer your question, Will, I don't remember
Stork.
an incident.
I got stork.
I don't remember an incident while bow hunting that I had a
Ribeye
deer
of the sky.
quartering away this hard in the past.
Yeah.
So if I would have changed anything, the elevation of the shot, I think, would have been a fatal shot if I would have been 4 or 5 inches further back.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, obviously now looking back, I'm thinking, I drew back on that deer at 18 yards and he ran out another 10 or 11 yards.
Sure.
So in that instance, I had to calculate, all right, how far did he go? Where's my spot?
Yep.
What pin am I on? Mm-hmm. All in less than a set, and release all in less than a sec. So it is a game of angles and
to your credit, for whatever it's worth, and I know what you're feeling. I've been there. There was one time where I wasn't able to recover one, and I honestly, that bow that you didn't take out with you that night, I almost hung up for the rest of the season, and I had my very first out-of-state hunt that year. I spent 5 days hunting in northeastern Missouri, and I didn't want to go.
And that's where, like I said, I didn't want to be inside my head, like just having any doubt at all. And right now, if somebody said, "Hey, you gonna take off tomorrow and go hunting and grab your bow?" I'd say, yeah, I'm going. But at that moment,
not in
less
PA,
than
though.
well,
It's too
not
fresh.
in PA.
It's too fresh. Not in PA.
Yeah,
Well,
but
you can go
at
down
that
toward
moment,
Kyle.
it just was.
That's still-
I
And
just couldn't do it.
what I can really understand is just the need to go sit outdoors and to take 2 hours of meditation time to maybe speed the recovery, because you're condensing a lot of in your head time right there to process that and get through it and then move on. Kudos to you for doing that if that's what you were doing out there.
spotted deer for my dad and hung out, and again played that scenario or that replay of that shot in my head a million and one times.
Is that a spot you hunt often?
Yeah, we've had access to that property for about 10 years.
So that particular tree, even, is that a spot you go to?
Yeah.
You'll play that scenario out in your head every time you crawl up that tree.
Yeah.
The buck that got away from me, and I'm going to circle back around to this. I'm fairly certain
Like
my
a
shot
decoy?
was a fatal shot, where I truly believe, with the evidence I have now, yours was not. I'll get back to that.
Yeah.
I know the shot that I put on the buck that I never found was fatal. That deer did not survive the shot that I gave it, but I never found it.
Right.
And every time I go to that piece of woods, I replay that.
Yeah.
It was, and Will's not unfamiliar with this part of the property. There's a big open gas line, and every time I cross that gas line, I see that buck in my head.
You hate yourself.
And I do. I honestly do.
Yeah.
Because there were things I could have done differently or options I could have taken. And, I took the shot that I took, and it was a fatal shot, and I never found that deer.
Yeah. Yeah.
In your scenario, Brian, where I'm at now, with the knowledge I have from your hunt, basically the video you showed me tonight and some of the still images that we took and we zoomed in.
Right.
If you look at the anatomy of a deer, cross-cut sections, whatever it is, just drawings of the anatomy of a deer, there is an area that they refer to as no man's land.
Uh-huh.
And my friend, I'm pretty sure you sunk an arrow a couple inches into that area. And while that buck may have a limp between now and the time somebody gets him in rifle, and I hope it's you,
I hope
but
so.
that is not a mortal wound on that buck. So for whatever it's worth, my semi-professional opinion as a podcaster, and I have a microphone in front of me, so I am professional.
That says everything.
He good.
Yeah, I hope so. I got 3 days of rifle season. I'm going to be going back up to that
Did you
same
leave
farm.
cameras running in that area when you left?
Yeah, we have 3 cameras going.
I can't wait to get the text message from you with the pictures of that buck.
You need like 4 or 5 more.
I should probably get a couple more hung.
He'll have little Bambi Band-Aids over one section as he walks past your camera, and you'll be like, there he is. He's all right.
Pretty sure he's going to flip you the hoof.
Or at least even pee on your camera.
Yeah.
He'll do all those things. But in all honesty, I think as far front and high as it was, I think you're all right.
Yeah.
It wasn't a mortal wound.
I hope so.
And again, I keep circling back around, but to
Like a
your
decoy.
credit, like a decoy,
Circle
to your
around.
credit, your non-mortal wound on this buck was 4 inches,
Yes.
maybe 5 inches from being a perfect double lung.
Yeah.
He piles up in 40 yards within camera range. And all of that from broadside at 18 yards to he sees something he doesn't like and just bounds off some unknown distance. You're already at full draw. You've got to do all of that calculation and adjusting and changing pins and settling it. All of that has to happen in a fraction of a second. And you were off by just a couple inches.
And I think I'm going to gain knowledge from this experience.
Absolutely.
You know, like I said, I can't recall a deer being that far quartering away from me a time when I have been archery hunting. So I know that's going to be imprinted in my mind, and I'm going to say to myself,
put it on
whether it's in that fraction of a second, I know I'm going to aim further back to hit that opposite shoulder, and I'm going to
that last
know
rib.
that.
When they're quartering that far away, you put it on that last rib.
Yeah.
Close side.
Yep. So hopefully it was unfortunate, but again, learning experience. Hopefully I'll have another encounter with this
season
buck
left, like you said.
Yeah, whether it's this year or next season if he makes it. Yeah, so
Ryan, did you do anything?
I've learned a lesson, and I have a plan for next season. That's what I've been up to. I've been out a few more times with my son, trying to get him on a buck toward the end of archery season. I have to check my regs, and look into what my options really are. But next year, when I buy my license, my plan is, how you get your license and it's printed off, and you got that whole strip of licenses, right?
Yes, sir. Your tags.
Yes.
And they're all tear apart little pieces.
Yeah.
I'm going to take that antler tag.
And hide it.
I'm going to leave it in my truck. And take the rest of my license. And have it with me on my person the way I'm supposed to. But that antler tag, I'm going to leave it in my truck.
Why?
Because all the rest of the buck in the woods are going to be like, I'm going to walk right next to that guy because he doesn't have a buck tag. Because that's what they've been doing to me this season.
I've been watching that, and it's funny. I love it. I think it's great.
From the time I was 11 years old until this year, I have had, last year was the exception. I didn't see a legal buck. But prior to that, one legal buck only have I ever seen while hunting. So, and I say that because I've passed shots on legal buck before. Never had another opportunity that season. I've shot smaller buck early in the season. Never had another opportunity at a buck. So I'm glad I did what I did. It's just one of those things. I get one opportunity at a legal buck each year. So I took it this year, same as I would any other year. Plus, I mean, this guy had me amped up coming into my bleak call and all that stuff.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Like he didn't stand a chance.
Hunter also had you all blowed up too.
Well, yeah, everybody was in my head a little bit, but and it was a year I hadn't even seen it buck, but the year before, all this stuff.
You're in the quest hunt go.
But I shot my legal buck. That was my chance. That's the only opportunity I'm getting anyway. So it's good to go. Since I pulled that trigger, I have had no more than 3 other legal buck, 2 of which are bigger than anything I've killed before.
Yeah.
Wow.
The last one was upstate, in the middle of the big woods. If anything, I can say that he just reinforced my scouting tactics and my stand placements.
Sure.
Well,
because in the middle of the big woods, here he comes. I didn't put any scent out. I have no reason to try to be attracting buck to me.
Right.
Mr. Monster Buck, I mean, I'm going to
Mr. Big.
on the hoof green score him at probably 130s.
Wow.
That's a big deal.
Just comes stomping in right to the base of my tree. Do, not a care in the world.
How did he hang out there for a while? I mean,
he was at 8 yards from the base of my tree.
What's your-
did he follow
What's your
your
point?
trail in?
Huh?
Did he follow your trail in?
No, he came off the hardwood ridge right down into the open section of pines, like I always say these deer are doing.
Hardwood Ridge is a retirement home.
Yes,
Over on,
and he came right off of it,
right off of it into where?
the open pines.
Open Pines. That's the next best place to
can't
retire
get-
at.
yeah, if you can't get a place at Hardwood,
Hardwood Ridge, Open Pines is
And-
my place.
Yeah,
I can't afford
He came
Hardwood Ridge.
right to me and did exactly what I know the buck do in this. I mean, all he did was reinforce everything that I've thought and talked about and
I
do.
love it. What?
But it never happens while I'm in the woods. It's all just on trail cameras.
It's not gonna happen if you have a tag.
That's why I'm leaving it in the truck.
No, if that doesn't mean anything, you have the tag. You can.
He doesn't know that because it's in the truck.
He's not.
They've
He
got
knows.
they've got some kind of X-ray vision that they
know what-
find the license holder
they have TAGAR.
and they
telling
scan
you.
it.
They have TAGAR.
That's
Yeah.
why.
They can
That's
sense
why
it.
the commission makes you display it.
Listen to me.
Go
Next
on.
year, when I get my scrub buck, my immature man,
Yes.
Adolescent.
Juvenile.
and I'm so proud, and I'm grinning ear to ear.
Yes.
And I'm filling tags left and right, and people are like, "Oh man, you killed
Must
so many
be
deer! You're
nice."
so great!"
It's monster.
And you're sitting on a tag next year because
I'll tell you what we'll do.
Left it in the truck.
you left.
So
it
this
in the
is
truck.
this coming up. Great American Outdoor Show is in February 2020.
Yeah.
In February of 2021,
Yes.
if I passed on some juvenile deer and didn't fill my tag while I'm at the outdoor show of
What?
2021,
Tell us. Can't wait.
I give you all permission to slap me in the face and tell me to never do that again
On cameras,
on camera.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. But
and then book us a trip
it's just this is the first year
while we're there.
that I've seen multiple buck,
Yeah.
not only legal buck but shooter buck. It's helping me solidify and
Your
reinforce some
deer
of the,
was
the
a
things.
really, really nice deer. I know it wasn't 130, but it was a really nice deer.
Yeah, I loved it.
Mine was
Okay.
I'm still loving it.
mine was a mainframe 4 with a kicker.
Yeah,
Does that make it a 5?
With a complete
Okay,
under
fine.
package added on.
It's a 5
point.
I had a drop tine eyelash on the one.
I'm just saying,
Non-typical eyelashes.
yours was bigger than mine, and I will be the first to say congratulations for
thank you.
killing a bigger buck than me.
Hey, I will take nothing away from this buck, and I've loved every minute of being in the woods.
Yeah.
Some guys are asking me like, "Why are you still out there? What are you doing out there if you're not going to?" Because I honestly, I want to shoot a doe with a shotgun.
Yeah.
I got a new slug gun that I
Yeah.
haven't killed with.
Yeah.
I've got a pistol. Now I have killed with the pistol, but I mean, come on. Kill
Yeah.
a deer with a pistol is still pretty sweet.
That's on my
So
list.
I got a pistol that I'm going to be hunting with. And then in late season, I got my flintlock, and I still have yet to take a deer with my flintlock. So I have 3 doe tags and 3 weapons for which I would like to harvest a deer with the doe
Right.
tag.
There you go.
I'm still sitting in my tree any chance I get with my bow in my hand, even though I know I'm not pulling back. I'm not going to draw back. I'm still hunting.
Yeah.
That's when these buck keep showing.
Well, I wish you all the luck and all the constraint and all the,
I need the restraints
for
my wrist.
Restraints. I wish you all that, like camo wrist restraints.
Nice.
Anyway,
what have you been up to?
I got to do some really cool stuff this week. Anybody shoot any of the new bows yet?
What?
Sounds like maybe you
and
did.
You didn't even go to ATA yet.
The VXR.
I shot a VXR and I shot the new Hoyts.
Did you? What's the new Hoyt? RX 4.
Yeah.
Quattro.
Quattro, as they say in Canada.
Yeah.
Nice.
What'd you think?
They're all wicked.
Yeah.
And
do you think I need a new bow?
I would always say yes to that.
It's a loaded question.
Yeah. From what I've read, the cams are the same on the Matthews, are they not? They still have the same cam. The risers are a little bit different. And you have the Verdicts, correct?
Yeah.
Did you see a difference or feel a difference or?
I didn't do any changing of like 60 pounds, 70 pounds.
Okay.
Like, it was just whatever was on the rack.
Okay.
I shot I think it was probably 70 pounds because it was buried. But the limbs were buried. But it was smooth.
Yeah.
It was quiet.
Yeah.
It was fast.
Yep.
And I think it's too early to give my opinions, like as far as like preferences yet.
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with that Matthews. That is a good bow.
Now the Hoyt, what'd you think about it?
Yeah, it's too early to give my opinions.
Okay.
I don't want to. I'm trying to, but like I said, right now, if you're gonna buy a bow, they're wicked.
Yeah.
And you got to do some serious research to kind of like
nitpick, if you will. Yeah.
And I went over to Kinsey's. Our good friends over at Kinsey's.
Yeah.
And they even had the new Bowtech. I didn't get a chance. I didn't have enough time to grab that.
You're all right.
Probably him. But I don't know that for certain.
That was mostly for Kyle's sake.
Yeah,
I said that.
I just like to pick on Kyle.
Heck yeah, I do.
But I didn't get a chance to pick that one up. But I definitely wasn't going there without shooting the VXR and the RX4.
Yeah, before.
So
Or Quattro.
yeah, and the Axios is the metal bow, is the aluminum riser bow from Hoyt.
Oh, okay.
So super bows, and they're all pretty good. Like I think at that point you just kind of say, this is what I can afford and this is what I want.
Yeah.
This is why, it's you really have to nitpick. So I did get to shoot some bows, which was cool.
That is cool.
Want to state for the record, I've said that forever. Set your price range.
Yeah.
And shoot as many bows in it as you can and find what is comfortable for you.
Yeah.
It's the way to do it.
I just think competition's tight this year. Like they are getting.
Well, it's in my opinion, it's been tight for a long time. There's reasons to go with this or with that.
Yeah.
There isn't a bow on the shelf in any outdoor store that won't kill a deer.
Right.
So
I agree with that.
It comes down to what you're willing to pay.
I'm not talking about like vibration and.
Oh yeah, there are definitely things that are better about one versus another, but generally, speaking, as you step up in price ranges, you lose that across the board.
The gap gets closer and closer.
Yeah, I'm telling I don't, like I said, it's a little too early, and I didn't shoot them enough to really nitpick, but like they're feeling similar.
Mm-hmm.
And then at that, I'm telling you, like if you're gonna pick a bow, you might pick it because the grip feels better.
Yeah.
That's what it'll boil down to.
That's what it's that.
But you did something else cool besides shoot all the fun new stuff?
I did.
What? What'd you do?
What'd you do, little boy?
I went pheasant hunting.
I believe I saw some pics.
Yes.
Well, he's right here.
Well, there's only one of me.
Some pictures.
He's seeing double.
Some pictures.
Okay.
He's got them bells too
It's
hard.
a long night,
He's
so
seeing
he's seeing
doubles.
double.
Pheasant hunting.
Yeah.
Was it local here? Like, I know you've been pheasant hunting down this way with Danny and Karma.
Yeah.
You flushed some birds out. Did you go visit up with that group again?
No. I went with
What?
one of our good buddies over at Kinsey's.
Don't tell Karma.
I won't.
She's going to be
get
so
upset.
mad at you.
I went with Nellie and Doug Williams.
Oh,
Yeah.
Doug
Yeah.
from Kinsey's.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
So you guys stuck up north?
Yeah. Well, that's up where his some of his stomping grounds. He said he's just looking to, like, it's her first year, and he's looking just to get her on as many birds as possible.
Watching young dogs work a field like that, though, can be fun. That's a good time.
This is really, really brutally thick. Like, this area is really, really thick, and
Thank goodness you had a dog then.
yeah, and she wouldn't
Otherwise,
even go into
Bucky would have
some of
been
it.
torn up.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty tore up, and I'm looking at my hands and stuff, and these things that break off into your skin and things like that, and you're just kind of like, you really start to understand why a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush.
Yes, you do.
Did you have
painful.
any? Did you have any birds in the hand?
Yeah, we both ended up limiting out.
Did ya?
Yeah, it was very cool. Just a good
That's
day.
cool, man. What breed is Nellie?
She's a Weimaraner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old is she? You said a young
Yeah,
dog.
she's maybe a year and a half or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That is cool.
Yeah, she's I pretty bright dog. She's different than, so Carmen is a lab, and they work birds completely different.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't have a lot of experience with bird dogs, and so watching her work, I mean, she might get 30 yards in front of us, even if she's like really kind of on a bird trail,
Right.
and she'll stop and look back and like, are you guys coming? Am I allowed to be here? What? Looks like she has a million questions.
Yeah.
She's just whipping. So, and he's very vocal with her. He's very, find me a bird, find this, and very, very vocal, and so that was fun. I think that was the cool to watch that. That process,
Interaction, and it's cool.
She's been very successful this year. So
Will, you limited out. I believe you told us earlier this season you already got your Christmas pheasant in the freezer. So how many pheasants you sitting on now, bud? I think Bucky's got to get to deep frying.
it's a good problem. I've had.
I'll help you out with that problem.
Nice.
Just saying.
You're just signing up.
Thanks,
Sign up.
Bucky.
Love you, Brubby.
Bucky, I've always said this. Me pheasant is Sue pheasant.
You know that old saying.
I've always said that.
And you say it so well.
Me pheasant, ace.
Sue pheasant.
But
Muy bien.
muy bien. I've been out 3 times and I have 3 birds. So it's
Are you doing math?
doing math. One time
It's
I
almost a
didn't-
1-to-1.
Yeah, one time I didn't get a bird. So, but it's a 1-to-1.
Yeah.
Bird to
Outage
ratio.
Ratio.
That's. I mean, you're not getting skunked.
Are these all
good.
hens, cocks? What do you?
What do you think, Buck?
The ring necks. Well, that's good. That's awesome that you got out. You've been out 3 more times than I have for pheasant this year. Yeah.
But you've been out 30 more times for deer than I have.
Yeah. Maybe 29. I don't know.
Yeah.
Give or take.
Yeah.
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 No, that was fun. Like I said, I did get out with Karma and Danny
Oh, yeah.
and catfish.
Huh?
Really?
Yeah. At the end of the week, last week,
You don't say.
I do say.
All right.
For them pheasants again.
Yeah. And one guy in our group got a bird. I did not. But it was really cool to hunt with my buddy.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Catfish.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm missing him. I need to get me a little bit of sea fish FaceTime.
Oh, I guarantee it.
Can't wait. Well, I know that he's getting ready for rifle season. You know, I seen Miss Lacey was at the range shooting some stuff up. I seen he's been hanging stands, and I know how he's getting his dad out
rifle stands
as often as he can. So I'm looking forward to some good, catfish deer hunting stories coming up. So it would be good stuff.
Stay tuned.
Mm-hmm.
Guys.
Buddy.
What?
I think we did this current a little bit of justice.
You ain't kidding.
Oh, we did. We did. It was a great current.
I want to just say one last thing to close it out, if I may, Will. I just want to acknowledge Brian one more time and just say super, super proud of you, dude.
Yeah.
For just for your honesty, opening up about the situation. It's a tough thing to deal with. And as quickly as you opened up about it, and as openly as you opened up about it. I mean, you posted that on social media and you gave an honest opinion and a heartfelt explanation for the situation you were in, which nobody asked for. Nope, you didn't need to do that. You felt you needed to, and super mature and cool.
Super mature.
And
I was really proud of you,
even in the face of the almost instant heckling and adversity that you were faced with, you handled that majestically.
I tried to. I appreciate it.
I can't. Well, first of all, I probably wouldn't have posted
I
the
wouldn't
story.
have done it.
But then
I'm just
to
not
immediately
mature
have
enough.
some of the
Honestly,
deters,
I don't know.
the deters that you dealt with, and you dealt with them. Mature is the only way I can think of to sort of describe it. But you weren't short with them. You were not reactionary or offended by them questioning anything. Like, you gave honest, heartfelt answers to their questions, and then linked them to information about how conservation works.
Yeah,
and it was just like, I was just sitting there going,
"Wow,
dang,
we were impressed."
Dude's got it going on."
And I feel that's what we should do. I at least that's what I should do. I don't want to lump us all in what that me. That's what I do. If you follow me on any social media, I hashtag it's who I am. It's what I do. I love doing it, and I must have read that text for 30 minutes before I hit that send button or that share button. I'm like, should I do this? Why should I not? Why? There are so many. As I said in that post, there are so many grip and grin pictures of big smiles and big bucks, but yet there are so many stories of heartache that I wanted to kind of connect with those people. If they're out there, that hey, I'm human, and there are errors, and there are human errors, and there are mechanical errors, and I wanted to let people know that I feel for them, and I've gone through that situation.
Sure.
I appreciate, that compliment and that sentiment. That I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
I didn't want to go without
Thank you so much.
pointing it out one more time. Very, very, very cool what you did.
I was going
appreciate
to be
it.
the first to say it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bucky. I appreciate it.
I was a distant
Hopefully it's the last time that we'll have to discuss something like this, but if not, I'll do the same thing. We'll talk about it. We'll analyze it. We'll learn something from it.
It'll be
We'll
somebody
communicate.
else next year. I mean, or the next year.
Yeah.
I think odds are stuff happens.
Yeah.
But unless you're out there doing it, you don't know what that's like.
Yeah.
That's
Point blank. So say what you want to say about it out there, guys.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate it, guys.
Before we send it off,
I should probably hear from me a little bit.
Throw it to yourself, Ryan.
Kicks it to yourselves.
Ryan? Yeah, Ryan. What do you got for this month's other sponsor? Well, let me tell you about it. Like to hear it? Here it go. This month's episodes are brought to you in part by Protection First Class Outdoors. PFC lubes were designed and developed to protect and lubricate your firearms, your bows, your tree stands, heck, all your outdoor equipment. Guys, I'm telling you, this stuff was originally designed to use in automotive undercoatings. Now, it don't get more corrosive than that.
I heard that.
That's true.
Make sure you head on over to pfcoutdoors.com. Check out everything they got going on over there. Pick up some of that lube. It's the ticket. Love me the lanolins.
Love the lube.
Guys,
Can't beat it.
I'm going to tell you something.
Go ahead, Buck.
It's been a while since I've been working with this PFC stuff. Mm-hmm. It didn't help my hernia.
No?
No.
Okay.
I've
So we
told-
finally got to that point.
Yeah, I've tried to spray it down.
The medical tests have been conducted,
Yeah.
and we've come to a
The
conclusion.
human testing.
Transdermal application does not work.
Okay.
So just throwing that out there.
We'll add that to the long list of those medical disclaimers at the end of the commercial. Love it.
I'm trying every way for human use right now.
Oh, boy. I love it. Love
It's
it.
lanolin.
Bucky,
Yeah.
where can folks find us?
Hey, everybody can find us out there on the World Wide Webs at RuttenRiverPursuits.com. On all the socials like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. They can find us at Rutten River Pursuits. On YouTube, you can get us at Rutten River Pursuits Podcast. And don't forget, you can download this podcast and all our podcasts on podcast apps such as Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcast.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Gentlemen,
Yeah, buddy.
as I'm known to say, Rega weedless.
See ya.
Get outdoors, people.
And then I've had other times where it didn't work out, like a branch or something like that, or a duck, that I couldn't change it. I can't.
Right.
There's nothing in between the time of the release to the deer. I couldn't change it.
Yeah.
I would never do it again.
So did the duck swoop in as you were drawing
was it
back?
cupping?
Did it scare you? Like, how did the duck come into play? I'm just curious. Oh, you mean
The deer ducked.
Gotcha. Sorry.
It was the deer duck.
I missed what you were saying.
All right.
You guys.
To answer your question,
I was all fired up.
yeah.
We know that's why we had to throw that
I'm glad
little
you
levity
did.
in there.
I would have said goose if I wanted to.
I got 3 days of rifle season. I'm going to be going back up to that
Did you
same
leave
farm.
cameras running in that area
Yeah,
when you left?
yeah. We have 3 cameras going.
I can't wait to get the text message from you with the pictures of that buck.
You need like 4 or 5 more.
With
I should probably get a couple more hung.
He'll have little Bambi Band-Aids over one section as he walks past your camera, and you'll be like, there he is. He's all right.
Pretty sure he's going to flip you the hoof. though.
Or at least he might, or at least even pee on your camera.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm pretty tore up, and I'm looking at my hands and stuff, and these things that break off into your skin and things like that, and you're just kind of like, you really start to understand why a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. Me pheasant is Sue pheasant.
You know that old saying.
I've always said that.